Well, today it's the 12th of July 2024, but I've got one question. Where is summer? I can't believe that this time of year, last night, we had to put fire on. We only put it on low, but you could feel a bit of cold in air. And we shouldn't be doing that mid-July. And a couple of nights ago, we also put an electric blanket on. Now that's a really handy thing to have, especially when you get to colder months. And that's what I've been thinking about. I should be outside in shorts and t-shirt, having a couple of drinks, taking day trips out more often than we have been doing. But the weather is absolutely horrendous this year. It's actually quite dark in this caravan today. And when I go into the spare bedroom to get some clothes, I have to put the light on. It's only 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We're keeping all windows, all doors shut, just to try and keep a little bit of warmth in. And since we're in a position where we're having to do that now, we've decided it's time to think more about autumn and winter and make sure we've got everything prepared. We did get a delivery today. Box was a bit battered, but it happens. But what we ordered is these. Those are blackout thermal curtains, and they was actually quite cheap. We did quite a lot of research in different areas, and they started off at about £160 to do all the curtains in this caravan. But after we did a search, we basically found the same ones, and I think they cost us about £70 in finish, and that included delivery, so that was a really good deal. We also wanted these for two reasons. Because the thermal, they're going to keep a bit of warmth in, but they're also blackout ones. And that's really good, because in the morning, quite early, the sun comes around where the bedroom is, so you get the light shining on those curtains, and the light does penetrate through those curtains, so you could be waking up early hours at morning when you don't need to. So that's what we've got these for. And as I said, we've bought enough to go all the way around this caravan. So that's one thing that we're going to get sorted. I've also started getting cheap rugs like this. They're not very thick, but for the moment we have them underneath his feet while we're sat on settee watching TV. And it was suggested by quite a few people, get some throws back at settee like we've got there, and then maybe some really nice thick rugs. But there's a shop in Skegness that we went to. Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was called. It is on Main High Street. And in there, there's a section where they've got loads and loads of different rugs. All different colours, all different thicknesses, but they're really cheap. So we know exactly where to go so we can layer up under his feet, ready for autumn and winter. And it's something definitely that we need to be thinking about right now. I do keep seeing these posts on news saying that an heatwave is on its way. Over 30 degrees. I don't know where they're getting their info from. But when I look outside, all I can see is rain, dark cloud, and it's very cold out there today as well. Which again, it shouldn't be happening mid-July. Ginny also went to a shop and she got hold of, I don't know what they're called. It's basically full length, but you wear it back to front, which I thought was quite weird. But she put it on last night because it was quite cool. And you put your arms in the front and then wrap it around you. Very strange, but she only had it on for about 15 minutes and then she took it off because she said she was really warm. And she tends to feel the cold way before I do. So that was another useful thing that she picked up. And I think she got that from a charity shop. I could be wrong, but I know what Ginny's like with charity shops. And why not, in this current climate, get everything as cheap as you possibly can. I do know that pretty much everything you buy from a charity shop, especially when it comes to clothing, they've usually still got the tags on though. So they're probably unwanted gifts and they've never been worn. So that was a good thing. But the one she got was a leopard print. And there's no way I'm going to wear one of those anyway. I'll manage quite fine. So we're going to stock up on lots and lots of cheap rugs. We've got laminate flooring in kitchen. So that is going to get really cold underfoot during winter. So we'll chuck a few down there as well. As I said, we've already got that electric blanket, and then we popped out a couple of days ago and we bought the thickest duvet that you can get, which is actually quite heavy. So that's also going to help. And beneath that, we have got that electric blanket. But I was toying with the idea of buying a quilt cover and putting another electric blanket inside that, so you could use that as a cover on yourself at night. They don't take a lot of electricity, so it might be worth a thought to do that. I just wonder if anybody else has tried that. Let me know in comments if you have, and let me know how you got on with that. Because as everybody keeps saying, warm yourself, not the caravan. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to trap as much warmth in with the aid of those curtains and rugs. But if we've got things we can put over us when it gets really cold, then that's going to be really useful. So let me know what you think about a electric blanket cover. Might work. I've also been looking into diesel heaters as well. Loads and loads of people have mentioned Chinese diesel heaters. I don't know what the difference is between one of those and just a diesel heater, unless it means they're really cheap. But the problem is, when I looked at them online, there were so many different variations of diesel heater. I did see one, I can't remember the name of that either, so I should write this stuff down before I start. But I did see one and it was only £80. But then they went from that to 250. So I'm assuming that that's either based on the brand or how much heat that particular unit produces. But as far as I'm aware, you've got to be drilling holes in walls and things, or in floor. But we have got a storage area on the back of this caravan. You might have seen it in a previous video. But if you haven't, I'll just give you a quick look. That's the area that I'm talking about. It's separate from the rest of the caravan. But there's also lots of room in here. Apart from all my rubbish, we're just using it to store extra food at the moment. But there's plenty of room in here to put a diesel heater. And that wall there leads directly into the bedroom. So if we did get a diesel heater, it wouldn't have to be in here. Or I'm assuming it doesn't have to be in here. I would think that you probably pipe it through and then maybe split it off into different areas. Or do you just have one pipe and just let it go through the entire caravan, which would mean leaving all the doors open. I've never had one, so I don't know how they work. But I think an area like that would be perfect if I did think about buying a diesel heater. And I wasn't sure whether it was actually allowed on this site. But since then, I have spoke to one of the people that are on this site and they've got a diesel heater themselves. I've not seen them since, so I might just keep an eye out for them passing this van, and then I can pick the brains, if you like, to see exactly how you set one of those up. But I was just confused in why is some £80 and others 250. And because it's such a miserable summer, we've decided to carry on with decorating, freshening everything up. Because I suppose that when it gets to the colder months, if you start painting then, it's going to take forever to dry. So best we get it done now. And we've just finished off the bathroom. I'll give you a quick look at that as well. So this is the bathroom in this caravan, and Ginny has repainted walls all the way around and done a really good job of it as well. It's really brightened it up. But what she's also done is bought some of these stick-on tiles. They're not proper tiles, although they do look really convincing. These have got adhesive backs and you just stick them onto your wall, and they're a plastic. Because it was just a wall, so when you're washing or shaving, you always seem to splash water all over this wall, and that's going to cause mould problems at some point. So we thought it'd be a good idea, since we were freshening this area up, to put some of those on as well. And I do think she's done a really good job of it. She is a really good painter. We used to restore furniture quite a few years ago. I used to do all the sanding and repairing, and then Ginny would paint them all up, doing things like shabby chic and flat painting as well. And the furniture we did was actually quite popular. Unfortunately, them days seem to have gone now. Nobody seems interested in things like that anymore. So as with anything else, you basically move with times. But that bathroom looks a lot better than it did. And we're not just doing that place, we are going to work our way through this van and try and get as much done as possible before winter. Because, as I said before, there's probably going to be a bit of a problem trying to get the paint to dry unless we do it while it's quite warm. Which is definitely not today, but as they keep saying, it's on its way. We also bought some of these as well. These are towels, but they dry really quickly. Quite light as well. So you don't have that problem of proper really heavy damp towels hanging around in your bathroom areas. Again, that's going to cause condensation and mould. And I wasn't convinced about these initially, but I had one problem. When I put it on my head, everybody rubs their face with a towel, and because I shave my head and sometimes I've got a bit of stubble, I tend to do that. They basically stick to you. They won't flow over your head or face, at least not mine anyway. So it's kind of a dabbing one, and then they dry really quick. So that's another good thing to get. We're going to get a few more of those as well, and probably replace all the towels that we've actually got at the moment. Because today we did put some washing out, and it had not been out there an hour, and then it started raining, even though rain has not been forecast. So we had to pop over and use the dryer. It's not expensive, it's only about £1 or something, but every pound that you can save is all for the better. And thank you so much for everybody yesterday that congratulated me on getting the maintenance job on this site. I really do appreciate it. I've not answered all messages at the moment because I actually got that many, and I do have things to do through the day as well. But I will get around to answering all those messages. But thank you so much for all your well wishes. It's just that part of this channel where people are urging you on, telling you to do this and do that, not give up, try this, try the other. It's brilliant because you feel like you've got a massive amount of people in your corner. So that really does help with your self-confidence as well. Although since it's so cold in mid-July and we put fire in last night, I'm not 100% sure our autumn and winter's gonna go, but we did get that little apartment recently as well that we can retreat to if needs be. But between now and autumn, I just want to make sure as much stuff's been done. Every day I'm trying to think of something new. I did think about the diesel heaters. We were thinking of getting panel heaters because apparently you can get those as low as 400 watts, so they wouldn't take a lot of electricity. We've ditched the idea of the pipe heaters. There's just so many people said that they're rubbish. But since I found out now that somebody on this site is using a diesel heater, then it's obviously allowed. Which comes to another comment that I had, or rather comments, there was quite a lot. People have been asking, if now we're both working for this site, does that mean that we have to leave still? Or does that mean that we can now stay here as long as we want? Because we're basically employed by the site. The answer to that question, I don't know. I've not seen anybody today to ask about it, but I'm definitely going to be asking that question because that would be really useful if that was the case. I know that people do this and they do it seasonally, so they can be on that site, but as soon as the season ends, they have to move off it. If that's still a thing, I don't know that either. I know that Ginny's mum and dad used to work on a campsite a lot of years ago, and because they worked on that campsite, they was also allowed to stay in a caravan full time. Whether that still applies today, I don't know. I really do think though they need to start and update some of these rules and regulations. I see people quoting the rules and regs between residential and non-residential, and these are laws that were drawn up in 1988. I think they need another look, especially where the things are going at the moment. But for the moment, we're doing everything we can think of, little bits at a time, so we can get everything in place ready for autumn and winter. And I'll never tire of reading people's ideas, so drop comments if you think there's something that somebody else might have missed, and we'll think about that as well. Oh, and one other thing before I go, the gas that we've been using. I keep updating you on how long this gas canister is lasting since I hooked it up. We hooked it up on the 5th of May and it's still going now. So basically that's 68 days ago now, and the gas canister cost £85. So if you divide the £85 by 68 days, it's now working out at £1.25 a day. So initially it was starting off at somewhere about £1.70. It's down to £1.25, so that's brilliant. Hopefully it'll last a bit longer as well. So thank you so much to everybody who's offered up the suggestions. I really appreciate you doing that. And as I've said before, just keep them coming. This is our first time in a static caravan. We are going to do the winter thing, so any help that we get is massively appreciated. And don't think if I haven't answered any of your comments, it's because I'm ignoring them. I definitely don't do that. I will answer comments when I get a chance. So between now and winter, keep those suggestions coming and we'll work on this caravan and try and make it as cosy as possible. And if you're interested in seeing what videos about caravan life we're going to be making in future, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Enjoy your weekend.